dear friends. Here we are at Kardec Radio. One more book to study together. Yes, why not? As the Spirit said, let us instruct ourselves. And the good spirits, like Emmanuel, they have brought to us books like this one, right? Ceifa de Luz. Ceifa de Luz, or Harvest of Light. This is a book that is a must for us. It's a must. It's coming about in English because we are translating at Kardec Radio, and this book completes the series of inspirational messages that is beyond inspirational because they are study messages, messages that are here to bring to us new information, bring to us new life. It's about the laws of life. And this book is in the series of the Living Spring book, The Truth, the Path, and the Way, the Truth, and the Path. We have Our Father, Our Daily Bread, and others, and this is the fifth one, Ceifa de Luz. It was the last one to be published by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. When Emmanuel wrote the preface, which was the last thing he did, it was August 1972. And it took them 7 years to have this published. So this is the only book in the series of inspirational messages by Emmanuel that we call the Living Spring series that has a preface by the president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation, Mr. Francisco Thyssen, the father of Dr. Sergio Thyssen nowadays. And he says it took them 7 years because part of the book, a third of the book, was actually stolen and published by somebody else. So Emmanuel, it took time for things to be sorted out, and then Emmanuel completed the book, and this book has 65 chapters. Okay? So it's a joy to be here back with you. You know, we've all been so busy with so many things, so many beautiful events, and now we're back to our study sessions that made this time together be of illumination, of friendship, of kindness, and of sharing the good news with other friends. It's a joy to see so many friends here. Thank you, Sol. Thank you, Rihanna. You know, it's always good to be back together, right? Daniela, so many others. So let me begin at the very preface of the book. Again, for those who are entering, this book was psychographed in 1972 by Emmanuel and published by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. Are you ready? Why is this book important? As Emmanuel says in his own preface, prayer for enlightenment. Lord, on the threshold of this book, we are in prayer, begging for more light by higher mercy. Clear our understanding so that we may know in its consequences the path already trodden by us. However, grant us this concession, more particularly to discover without mistakes where the straightest roads that lead us to integration with your loans. We're adjusting the sound. Let us know if it's getting better, friends. Elevate our thoughts, not only to identify the essence of our own desires, but specially so that we may learn to know what plans you drew for us. Enlighten our memory, not only so as to remember with confidence the lessons of yesterday, but more especially so that we will stop in the present day, taking advantage of the blessings in work and renewal. Help us recognize our availability. However, grant us such protection so that we may know how to do with it the best way that is within our reach. Inspire us by teaching the value of friends whom you send to us. However, more importantly, help us to accept them as they are, without requiring them spectacles of greatness or the imposition of recognition. Amplify our vision so that we may see in our loved ones not only people able to help us and to provide us with support and companionship, but above all, may we see in them the condition of individuals that you have entrusted to us for love, so we may lead them to the direction of the good. Teach us to find peace in the constructive struggle, rest in the uplifting work, relief in difficulties, and the good in the so-called evils of life. O Lord, bless us and extend your compassionate hands in your infinite goodness, so that we may perceive in spirit in the reality of our tasks and experiences of each day, today and always. So be it. Emmanuel wrote this on August 29 of 1972 in the city of Uberaba, Brazil. So this is beautiful, friends, because this is August 1st of 2018. And 46 years ago, Emmanuel brought this book to us. So we can see how the message of the good, as Professor Euripides Barçanufo says, is the son of the truth, like so powerful that it's immortal to us. So I see friends who are joining us, and we've just been together by Daisy, doing beautiful works with the kids in the center, and so many friends, João da Rosa, Amanda Andrade. I have to say the names who are here, and if you're listening to this or watching on demand, forgive us, but it's the joy of being together, right? It's always good. Teresa Castro, Patricia, how are you? It's so good to have you here. Mônica Medeiros, Nora Brasil, Daniela Souza, I said Rihanna is here, Karina Alice, Célia Lancaster, so many friends who have been doing beautiful works at their end as well. So why is this message so important? Let's begin from the beginning. Emmanuel titles this preface, Prayer of Enlightenment. It's about light. I know, you may be thinking, Vanessa, you're not going to sing Let It Shine, Let It Shine. Not yet. But let us think about this. Why enlightenment? Emmanuel's not trying to be poetic. No, he's not trying to flower what is so serious for us. What's the point here? Nourishment. When we are enlightened, we're nourished, we're complete. So that's vital for us, to learn how to pray. This book, Harvest of Light, is about the movements of sowing and harvesting in our daily life. It's so important to be mindful that every day we're sowing and we shall reap. And we are reaping today what we have sown yesterday. It's not easy because sometimes we face the harvest of the past here in the present, and it feels so difficult for us. But what do? Either we nag about it, or we look at it and say, I am at peace with my past. I bless it. But now I make a choice to sow differently. So it's about that constant coaching of the mind, of the soul. Raquel Leong is here with us, double checking the sound. Thank you, Raquel. And we have Felicia here. What a joy, Felicia. And Senora Liz, how are you with the beautiful children doing so many beautiful works? So for us here today, when we go to the prayer of Emmanuel, he's reminding us that first we're praying to ask, which is one of the things that Kardec says we can do when we pray. Ask for things. But Vanessa, can I ask for a car? Can I ask for marriage? Can I ask for a good meal, for rest, for vacation? God is a good Father, is the one and only. Of all parents in this universe, God is the parent of all parents. Who said it? Jesus. If you ask a parent something of the nature, why can't you ask God? You think there is limit to the conversation with God? No. But we're allowed to ask anything. But we need to be conscientious if that's exactly what we need. So the shortcut is saying, God, as Emmanuel said, begging for more light by higher mercy. Because on the earth, evil still prevails. How do you feel when I say that? Do you feel like, oh, I don't like that part? No, but the world is getting better. I know. But still, evil predominates. Little by little, the good is conquering the world. Inside of us and around. Look at ourselves and we have a measure. Right, Marisa, and João Bosco, and Julija, right, friends? So it's an opportunity for us to reflect. We need, and he's so humble, Emmanuel is so humble, that in the first line of it, he says, we beg for more light. Only in humility I can beg for more light, right? Only in humility. I know we are learning how to be humble, but when you go to the book Thought and Life by Emmanuel, he has a chapter titled Humility. And in that chapter he says, humility can be simply the awareness that we are totally dependent on God. Totally. That we cannot go solo in life like many people think. I don't believe in God, or I believe, but you know what? This is on me. Tell me where there is a line. Me and then God. If God is constantly, at every second, giving us life, it's as if a baby in the womb of a mother said, Mom, now I'm going to breathe by myself. But how can that happen if the baby is in the womb of the mother? That's our relationship with God. We're so dependent on God, and that's where our humility begins. That's why Emmanuel is saying, without you, God, we cannot have more light. Right, Sunshine? Good to have you here. Hipólito, thank you for joining us. Thank you. Luciana was just there in the center working hard and is here. And Selma Brazil, how are you? Lívia Moraes, are you feeling we are in a center? That's the 11 p.m. center. We had a short break. Yeah, we needed a few months of a break, but now we're back. Thank God. God allows us to be back. And he says, number one, he says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points. First, the enlightenment begins by clearing our understanding. So let's mark it down. I want light, so allow this light to clear our understanding. Often, we want illumination, but our cup is so full of so many notions in life that we don't give room for the new. It doesn't work. Does it work? No. It's the famous account of that Buddhist apprentice who came to the master asking for more instruction. And he said, well, let's have some tea. And the apprentice kept talking, until he observed that the master was pouring the water onto the cup, and it was spilling out. He's like, Master, it's spilling out. He said, that's your mind. I cannot put anything in until you empty it out. So Emmanuel, right, Liva Moraes, is precisely telling us that illumination begins with humility before God. 2, clearing out our understanding. Many things that we think we know are probably a fallacy, a myth, are not true, like a mirage. Right, Adilson? Right, Sérgio Trevino? Thank you, Olivia Moraes, for your kindness. And he says, grant us the concession to discover without mistakes where the straightest roads lead us to the integration. Do I make mistakes? Of course. Do you make mistakes? Why not? Because we're learning. But he's saying, let us ask for the divine illumination so we can clear out understanding and see better how to proceed in life. So the first therapeutic exercise, am I open to the new? Because we often say, I want to change, but change means absorbing the new. Am I ready for this new? What is this new? I don't know, so I have to be ready. That's why we call it open-minded, meaning like a scientist. You can be a scientist. It's in our nature to be scientists. By observing like Allan Kardec. Observing the facts, I analyze, oh, what is this? And I keep contemplating it until I realize that there is a path for me to walk in. And that's the proposal of Emmanuel. I need the new. Let me be open. And let me not resist the call to the new. Maria da Costa is here. It was such a joy to have her doing so much work in the first International Spiritist Youth event. Thank you, Maria. And Luciane and Tuani, a joy to have you here too. So first one, clear out our understanding. Elevate our thoughts. Asking God, please. Let me ask you this question. Why is Emmanuel asking God to elevate our thoughts? I could turn to Emmanuel and say, but Emmanuel, doesn't that depend on you? What would be the answer? Well, what is the source of beautiful thoughts? God. Without the influx of these elevated thoughts, I cannot have it. I am a co-creator. I'm not a creator. That's where humility takes place. Again, we're going to repeat. Humility before God is feeling ourselves in the womb of God. In the womb. Like a fetus in the womb of a mother. It's impossible for that baby to say, Mom, I'm going to breathe by myself now. because it's impossible. So for us, our dependency on God is at full extension. So if I want to have beautiful thoughts, elevated thoughts, I need to ask, God, help me have elevated thoughts. But why is Emmanuel saying that that is important for illumination? Because it's impossible to be illuminated having negative thoughts. The other day, the beloved mentor Joseph was saying to me, Vanessa, it's right that we do things in the past and in this life, we are resenting the effects of it all. Don't limit yourself to the effects of the actions of the past. Build the new scenario so you can sooner than later encounter that new scenario. Don't believe in the current appearances of things. Keep co-creating with God in beautiful scenarios of life. Believe in yourself as a child of God. Believe in others as children of God. Do not restrict yourselves to the pictures that each other took in other moments. Give always a new opportunity to renew yourself and move forward. And I'm sharing this with you, right, Fabio da Costa? What a joy to help us understand why it's on us to elevate. So first, humility, then clear our understanding so we can see new facets of life. 3, elevate our thoughts. 4, enlighten our memory. That's a fascinating prayer. This is a prayer of enlightenment by Emmanuel in this book, Harvest of Light, for those who are entering now, this book. And he says, enlighten our memory. Why? So not only as to remember with confidence the lessons of yesterday, but especially to make us stop in the present, taking advantage of the blessings in work and renewal. Many people cannot forgive themselves. Majority of people. They're like, I have to suffer, cannot change. But I say this to you. Feeling afflicted does not pay any bill. Does not pay any bill. Take a bill. And you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay this? You're out of breath. You don't know. It didn't pay the bill. The more afflicted you are, that doesn't make you actually pay the bill. Many people have this misconception that by rewinding remembering the mistakes, they'll be paying off the debts. No, not at all. We need to work, pay, repair. Service. And that's why in the book Jesus in the Home, and you can listen to the book Jesus in the Home by going to KardecRadio.com. There is an icon saying podcasts. You go to our SoundCloud account and you have a list of the playlists. There's a playlist Jesus in the Home that was done, beautifully done by Naur Fonseca and Gabi Ferreira, and it's immortalized in Kardec Radio's playlist. And there is a chapter in which Jesus tells this very account of a man who seemed to be so correct in life, so righteous. And one day, a Pharisee, and one day an angel came, said Jesus, and asked for his help because in the neighboring city there were people who needed his help. There was a plague in the city. The angels needed somebody who knew the laws, who had the laws of God in their heart, to go and help the people who were suffering. And then the Pharisees said, I'm sorry, but I can't mix myself up with the people who are dirty. So then the angel kept trying to convince other observants of the law, people who think they're so righteous. They go to their church, they go to their temple, and they think, I know it all, I don't make a mistake. I make little mistakes. I'm not like this, that, and the other. But one day, the angel said, Jesus in the book, Jesus in the Home, by the Spirit near Lucio, through Chico Xavier, said to a criminal who prayed to correct himself and pay for his mistakes. He then said, I want to go, I want to help. And he became the helping hand of the angels in that city that was plagued by a disease. And at the end of it all, Jesus says to his disciples, who were astonished by the account, Jesus turned and said, the one who decided to correct himself and to work for the benefit of others was benefited by the illumination of the company of the good spirits, the guardian angels, the angels, while the other, who seems so righteous, has to wait to be in the company of the angels. And that's why Emmanuel, in this part of this prayer, he says, enlighten our memory. Reconciliation. Can you go back to the mistakes you've done wrong and be compassionate to yourself? Huh? And to other people too. Because Jesus said, most often than not, people make mistakes because they don't know better. You make mistakes because you don't know better. And I do the same. So I look back and I say, I know. I'm not going to justify for you, but I understand you. And I give you my reconciliatory feelings. And give yourself a hug. And emanate that hug to those people who are on a different page, who made mistakes sometimes towards us, and vice versa. Can we do it? Right, Rita de Cássia, thank you for joining us. Salomão, Silvio Donizete e Valéria Sordi, doing beautiful works in the Southern Virginia. Beautiful. With Livia Brady, with Nina Dewey, right? Rosana de Lourdes is here. Thank you, Rosana, for joining us, making us feel stronger together. So, enlightenment encompasses illuminating our memory. Let me open one more parenthesis here for us, shall I? In the book Evolution in Two Worlds, André Luiz reveals to us that the remembrance of mistakes predisposes to diseases. So why is this important for us to note? Because we need to enlighten our memories, as Emmanuel is saying, to give ourselves the benefit of renewal. That's why he ends this paragraph with the word renewal. When I enlighten my memories, the memories of your parents in your childhood, be merciful with them. I know some parents are brutal, but they don't know what they've done. Take your camera with compassion, look from a different angle, and you understand that in their minds, there was no other way. We're not going to applaud them, but we're going to respect. We're going to understand the people who make mistakes towards us. But first, we need to do this exercise with ourselves. Enlighten those memories and let ourselves be renewed. Then he says in his prayer, help us, God, recognize our availability. I've never heard that before in a prayer. Recognize our availability, granting us such protection that we may know how to do the best within our reach. Help us to recognize our availability. Mamma mia, we need more goodwill in this world. That's how we translate this. No wonder Jesus said, we need more goodwill. People who, instead of saying, I'm too busy, I have this, that, and the other, somebody calls and says, can you do this for me? I'll do it. I'm doing this right now. Instead of saying, but you could do it by yourself. How many parents say that to their children? The child comes and says, can you help me? You should know better and do it by yourself. But the reason why they're asking you is for emotional exchange, affection. It's not laziness. It's about love. Give more love. Give a little love, right? Give a little more love. Love never hurts. More kisses, more approval. One of the reasons why we have a struggle with the self-approval is because we, in our childhood as well, we had a hard time being approved, because it's very labor intensive to be a parent. Sometimes it's consuming, and our child observes it and think it's their fault. They are raised feeling inadequate, inconvenient, difficult. Instead, let us tell our children. Let us tell people in our lives, I am tired, but I love you. It's nothing to do with you. It's my shortcoming. I now need a break. I cannot spend too much time doing this, that, and the other. But I love you. Some people refrain from expressing their affection. Do you? So that's the exercise for the next 24 hours. Make yourself more available. But Vanessa, some people may abuse me. No. God's going to help you. God's going to help you protect yourself. That's why Emmanuel says, he says here, help us to recognize our availability. However, grant us such protection that we may know how to do within the best within our reach. Make yourself available to help. First, the closest, and then everybody who comes your way. Why not? Inspire us. Emmanuel is humble. He's a super teacher, and he's still praying. Please inspire us by teaching us to value our friends. Now, this is big. Value our friends whom you sent us. Do you value your friends? Who are your friends? Who are your friends? Do you value them? And he completes, but more importantly, help us accept them as they are, without requesting from them recognition or perfection, spectacles of grandeur. For example, we are here together. Well, it's a controlled environment, right? It's easy. And then you meet me at an event. I'm tired. And I may not have my best word. And then you go home feeling disappointed. Oh, Vanessa is not the person I thought. But I'm telling you, is that fair? It's not fair that I do this to you either, right? That I expect from you recognition or expectables of greatness. But we value each other, and we value the friends in our lives. Making friends at home. So let me give you a proposal that Mentor Joseph taught me once. He said, you want to learn how to detach, Vanessa? You want to learn how to detach? And I say, yes, I do. Well, start detaching from the expectations of the roles of people in your life. Look at them as children of God who are progressing and learning how, like you are. And establish an approach in which your goal is to be a friend of this person. So instead of looking at your parents as parents who owe you this, that, and the other, expect to be a friend of theirs, of your spouse. Before you see your spouse as a spouse and the least of expectations, see your friend, see your spouse as a child of God, whom you see first and foremost as a friend. Right? Wagner Jr. is here. Felipe Geno is here. Right? So he says, amplify our vision. Oh Lord, I want to illuminate myself. I want to amplify. That's why he said at the beginning, clear our understanding so we can see the new and amplify our vision so we may see in our loved ones not only people that we take from, he says, but also people that we need to love and to lead to the good. How often we see our loved ones as people whom we need to get something from instead of giving and being a collaborator of theirs. When you approach somebody in your life, do you always approach people calculating why you're talking to them? Or do you observe God's hands bringing you two together at that moment, and you're like Allan Kardec, observing the facts, analyzing the language, and seeing the divine? It's going to change our relationships, because we'll no longer look at people, look down on people like, who are you? Why should I talk to you? Everyone is important. Law of equality. How do you feel about the law of equality, knowing that it exists? Did you see in the first International Spiritist Youth Weekend, the teens together with the adult facilitators, some who are here, they are witnesses, and they are those who worked hard on it. They compiled a document, and the first thing that they voted to discuss is about gender equality, the law of equality. No matter if you're in the body of a man or a woman, you have the same rights to progress. The roles are different, but the rights are the same. And I may be given that opportunity. And I know Felicia, though in South Africa, she participated live. So this is an important feeling for us, to be assured that none of us is less. Do you think God loves Jesus more than he loves us? Just because he is more than 4.5 billion ahead of us? No. Do you think God loves us more than a dog? No. No, no. Oh my God, I need to take better care of my pet. I agree. And the plant, because the plant is also a child of God. The next time you sing the song, Child of God, sing to the plant. Right? Rihanna, she's saying, it's so helpful. It means to have no extension for them to have a specific role or duty towards us. Exactly. Exactly. So that's why Jesus came and said, I'll give you the most important title of all, friends. Because then we're equal. Jesus is so humble that he equalized himself. He didn't say, I'm the master and you are my disciples. Simply said, no, you're my friends. Right? Exactly. The expectations, no expectations. Exactly, Rihanna. He helps us reframe the list of expectations when we give each other the opportunity to be at the same platform. Instead of looking up at somebody and saying, oh my gosh, they're not giving what I need, or looking down at somebody and saying, they're not obeying me. I look at my children, no matter their age, to my spouse, same level, and saying, we're all children of God. The first thing we need to do is to be friends. Respect each other, value each other, and do not demand more than they can give. And then finally, Lord, teach us to find peace. I think that's why we chose for this, for the Facebook announcement, this sentence. Breathe in and out now so we can absorb together. Breathe in and out. Teach us to find peace in the constructive struggle. Of course, our lives are blah, challenges, but God is in control. I trust in God. I find peace. Rest in uplifting work. Next time you do any work, transform it in uplifting work. How? By dedicating it to God. If you are doing something you don't like God, I'm gonna dedicate this work to you. It becomes uplifting. And then we find rest because we're in harmony. We're not bumping heads. We're not like, oh, I don't want to clean my house. Oh, I don't want to do laundry. Oh, I don't want to do this report at work. Oh my God. And then it becomes immensely difficult, right? Instead, I transform it in uplifting work. And after this feeling of being uplifted, I can be in harmony, and it's easier. You may work overnight, the whole night. Like Chico Xavier, sometimes praying the whole night for people. The sun would rise, and then, funny enough, he would be restored because he was praying for others. Don't know what to do? Don't be bored. Pray for others. Relief in the difficulty. Why? Because the difficulty is a sign that you're progressing, that you're doing something new, that you're strengthening new muscles. And you're like, it's difficult. And then you're like, lifting weight. Oh my gosh, that's a new exercise to me. That's a relief that I am finding the new. That's a way of saying it. Teach us the good in the so-called evils of life. Joseph of the Egypt was sold by his brothers as a slave. He was imprisoned. In prison, he started interpreting the dreams of the soldiers, the guards. One day, people heard that the Pharaoh had a dream that he couldn't break the code. The guard said, well, there's a man here in our prison that can help you. He was released. He decoded the dream. 7 years of abundance, 7 years of difficulty, misery. The Pharaoh was so impressed that gave Joseph of Egypt the role to be the governor of that phase. One day, in the 7 years of misery or difficulty, he saw his brothers coming to the line of the Pharaoh to ask for food, because knowing that that was going to happen, they saved it, they stored. When he saw his brothers, he embraced them, forgave them, and brought them to live with them in the big palace of the Pharaoh. Why we're saying this story? Because Joseph knew at first, he was so young. He was like, why am I here? Why is this happening to me? And then asking for God's illumination, he did what Emmanuel said. He found the good in the evils of life. When he surrendered to God, he was able to fulfill his role. And this may happen in our lives. Blessings in disguise. That's why we call blessings in disguise. And finally he says, bless us, God, and extend your compassionate hands in your infinite goodness, so that we may perceive in spirit the reality of our tasks, the experiences of each day, today and always. What a book. What a book. The promise of a new understanding for us. This book is unprecedented. It has deep revelations, new understanding for us. May this book, the prayer for light, for illumination, be for us in this journey together a moment of renewal. Tomorrow, when we come back, God willing, we'll be on chapter 1, the charity of understanding. Emmanuel quotes from Paul in the Corinthians. Now, faith, hope, and charity remain. However, the greatest of all is charity. What is charity? Emmanuel titles it the charity of understanding. What is it? Right? Macurpy Claire is here, Lee Claire Mickey, and here we have Renata Casadei. Thank you, Sunshine. It's so good to be back together, this power of togetherness, of this connectedness, using the tools of God to progress together, friends. We thank you for being together, creating this current in different continents, different countries, and giving each other the certainty that the path is to feel our connection with God more and more deeply, because God is letting His light shine on us. What are you going to do with this light? You're going to let it shine, right? Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Have a beautiful night or a beautiful day. And until tomorrow, God willing, thank you, friends. Thank you, Rihanna.